Along with Armed Services, America also has several uniformed unarmed services.
That includes the Civil Air Patrol, which has 2 units here in the Twin Ports.
And Dave Anderson looks at the work members have done here over the years and why new recruits are needed in this week's Holding On to History.
Air Force veteran Keith Bischoff came to the Twin Ports during the height of the Cold War, when Duluth Air Force Base was the first line of defense for the free world.
Uncle Sam brought me here to Duluth, Minnesota in 1959 through 62, and then took me away and brought me back in 1976 and left me here.
In 1981, Keith joined the Air Force Auxiliary, also known as the Civil Air Patrol. The CAP was founded in 1941, a week before Pearl Harbor. On its 8th day of existence, CAP planes were patrolling the coasts of our country looking for enemy submarines.
We did spot several U-boats and reported those in. There's an unconfirmed report that we actually sank one, but I don't think there's any actual documentation to confirm or deny that statement.
CAP members can confirm they have 3 primary missions to perform for the Air Force: aerospace education, train cadets, and assist in domestic search and rescue.
The Civil Air Patrol serves the United States Air Force and looks for all downed aircraft other than military and commercial aircraft.
Civil Air Patrol squadrons in Duluth and Superior have assisted in many searches for downed private planes over the years. Keith Bischoff is especially proud of their rescue of Grace and Lily Pearson, 2 small children who survived a crash near Grand Marais in 2003.
To find 2 young survivors, to me, that was memorable in Duluth's Composite Squadron.
After 80-plus years, the CAP units of the Northland continue to hone their search and rescue skills, sometimes drilling with my comrades of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. The Cadet Corps in our region is healthy and vibrant as they practice close order drill in the evenings, but adult members are especially wanted right now.
We have so many different types of jobs, from lawyers to accountants to education, that you can try something new or do something you already are perfect at.
Holding on to history in Duluth, Dave Anderson, Northern News Now.
Dave, thank you. Keith Bishop is the most senior member of the Duluth Composite Squadron. He's been in the Civil Air Patrol for 43 years.